What happens when a pastor, leadership coach, grandfather of five, and AI strategist walk into the same conversation? You get an hour of straight truth you didn't know you needed. In this episode, I sit down with the one and only Dr. Rodney R. Payne, senior pastor of 18 years, leadership coach, and more. We're going to talk about how he operates at that level, the schedule, the systems, the soft skills, and the non negotiables that keep it all running. Whether you're a leader, an entrepreneur, a pastor, or just somebody trying to figure out what success actually looks like for you, let's get into it. Hey, and welcome back. I'm excited. I'm always excited. That's just me. Unfortunately, today I only had 2 cups of coffee, so I'm going to calm it down a little bit. For this interview right here, I put on my best shirt. I had to pop it off for just a little bit because the man that I have on, I told you about him in the beginning of the show. The man that I have on, this guy right here is shaker and mover. We're gonna dive all into his brain and understand how is he doing what he's doing, and we're gonna talk a little bit of techish on here, as well as we're gonna jump into something that I know that you will find interesting. So sit back, grab your popcorn, grab your drinks, whatever you need to do, and take part of this interview with my man, the one and only Mr. Dr. Rodney Payne. How are you doing there, sir?
What's going on, Dr. D? I don't know how to live up to that introduction, but we'll do the best we can, boss.
Oh, sir, hey, I almost didn't even put an introduction on there. I could have just showed a clip from one of your podcasts or anything, and it would have told everybody what they needed to know. But hey, thank you for joining me today. Thank you very
Excited to be
much.
here, man. I'm really excited to be here. You're techish, I'm not, so we're gonna see how this really works. So, I delegate tech, and you are tech. So let's try and bring these worlds together.
Hey, that's what's up. That's what's up. Well, for the people in the back, I always like to say, why don't you give just a little snapshot of what you do and all of those things? I always call it your Superman speech. Go ahead and share a little bit.
Oh man, well, I'm not Superman, but I'm gonna ask you. You want like the whole thing? You want the business? What part do you want? It's a lot going on over
Oh
here.
man, that's a couple of snaps. That's a great question, but go ahead and share what you want, and we're gonna dive into whatever you say.
Well, the most important thing about me is that I have been married to the same beautiful woman for 35 years, soon to be 36. She blessed us with 2 beautiful daughters who then went and married 2 sons. And now we love our children. We do. We adore them. However, they have since blessed us with 5 grandchildren. So my claim to fame is I'm a pawpaw. So I'm really, really excited about family means everything to me. As far as the work world goes, I am a senior pastor of a church. I've been in ministry or preaching ministry for 30 years. I've been senior pastoring ministry for 18 years. We're in our 18th year of that. We started a nonprofit marriage and family ministry back in 1999, where we do marriage ministry. And then about 11 years ago, I started a leadership company. It's called One Voice Leadership. And there I'm a leadership coach. We do strategic planning. We do one-to-one coaching. We help you get from where you are to where you want to be. I've had the privilege of authoring 3 books, and I'll say 3.75 at the time of this recording. My 4th book is almost out. So we're about to deliver that soon. But really, simply put, child of God, love people, love adding value to people, and love helping people.
You know what? You said a mouthful there, and I know you gave us the high level view of what's going on in your world. 5 grandchildren.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
yes,
you
yes,
know,
yes. Uh,
we have our first one. She's 3. She just turned 3, and when she was born, I never forgot. When she was born, I think I went on Amazon and bought every baby thing. I turned the whole downstairs into daddy daycare.
yeah,
And you know what? She only had an interest in one thing. So I got all of that stuff still in the closet looking
yeah.
for. I'm not gonna say looking for my next grandchild because I need to get my chops up working with her right now. But but I could only imagine with 5. Oh, you big time pawpaw.
Well, I have an 8-year-old, 5-year-old, 3, 2, 1. When
Oh
they all
wow.
come over, Dr. D, when they all come over, my daughters crack up because I go to my bedroom, put on my sweatpants and my loose fitting t-shirt, put on some sneakers and get ready to get in the floor because it's going to be chaos as long as they're here. They have two speeds, go and stop. And stop only happens
Yes.
when they sleep. That's it.
And if that.
If then, exactly. If then.
That's great. Well, congratulations on
Thank you,
all
man.
the above. You and I have been talking back and forth for some time now. I'm really you're always exciting to talk to. First, I want to get that out the way,
Uh,
but I am very interested in how you operate because you talk about your leadership business and things
mhm.
of that nature. And it seems like every time we speak, you are always, as my mom used to say, smelling gas. On the go, and so let's talk about that for a minute. That's an interesting section right there to be a pastor,
Mhm.
and then on the side of that have the leadership. How do you operate in both worlds like that?
In most cases, I don't even talk about pastoring and leadership in the same context. But the fact of the matter is, in this conversation, I'm just going to tell you how it is. I'm a pastor first. That's what I am. My servanthood, my servant heart, all of that is Bible. That's not me. And so I think what you're trying to get into is there's only X number of hours in a day, X number of days in a week, et cetera. How do you get it all done? Well, again, if you were to put my life on a pinwheel, at the center of that is going to be husband, father, grandfather. Then church is next. God is first, but church is next. So my entire schedule revolves around me pastoring a church. I'm not just a preacher. I'm a pastor. I love people. I love the people that God gives me the privilege of serving. And so I show up. I preach to, I'm going to tell you my regular speaking schedule. I'm gonna mess with you a little bit. We're going to talk just about the preaching side. I preach twice every Sunday and I teach 4 times every Wednesday. That's before we say hello. So how do you do the rest? And I do this old fashioned thing. I know that you're a techie, but I still believe in writing sermons. I believe in writing Bible lessons. So not that we don't leverage AI in preparation and going to collect the data and all that stuff, but as far as I sit down with original thoughts every week, every single week, and so what I do is I have my week kind of broken up into segments. Um, Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. On Mondays, I take care of Rodney Payne. That's all I do. I go to my chiropractor. I go play golf. I go have breakfast. I take myself out to breakfast and maybe lunch too. And I just don't work on those days for the most part. That's just a day that's off. On Tuesday through Thursday, I told you my Wednesday schedule, but Tuesday through Thursday, I have an open calendar. And so anyone who needs me for anything, whether it's my coaching business, whether it's one to one, whether it's pastoral counseling or meetings, all of that happens on Tuesday, Thursday for the most part. Mondays are recovery, Fridays and Saturdays are preparation. And then I work around whenever I have an engagement. And my calendar is set so that I have bookings right now, Dr. D, through late October for sure. I mean, already. I have some people requesting next year. They haven't booked yet, but I'm talking about I have solid confirmed bookings. And so I go to bed at night on my way to bed. I look at my phone and see what's on the list for tomorrow. Now I can get technical and I can tell you how to make all that happen. But in essence, I tell my calendar what to do. I have a wonderful, I have 2 executive assistants, one that handles my business and one that handles everything else. And everything else means church, personal life, personal travel, everything else. And so that I got 2 people that tell me where to go and when to be there. All I do, man, listen, all I do is talk for a living. I don't do any work. I just talk. I just run my mouth all the time.
That's crazy. That's crazy. When you was going through all of that, I think my eyes started watering up because I was like, man, hey, I'm having an emotional to all the things that he's talking about here. And the reason that I'm having that is it's like I spend a lot of time talking about the disparities that's going on right now, especially in the world of job loss.
Mhm.
I tell a lot anybody that listen to me, I say, hey, some of your closest friends are hurting, and they
Mm.
won't tell you.
That's right.
But on the flip side, when I'm listening to you, it's going, it's moving.
Mm.
Do,
Well, one thing. Oh, I forgot one. I do at least 30 minutes of cardio every day, 7 days a week.
That's one for the books now.
Today it was 3 miles uh, in the park, enjoying the vitamin D, soaking it up. So here's the thing. I grew up in rural Oklahoma, eastern Oklahoma County, and both of my granddads, one had a 5 acre farm, the other one had 40 acres. And so work was what I was trained to do. I was built to work. So
Mm.
the only time my schedule sounds overwhelming to me is when kind people like Dr. D ask me to go through it. Otherwise, I'm just work. I'm just working, right? And so what I've learned, a couple of things that I've learned. One is how to leverage my strengths. I know what I'm good at, and that's communicating and building people. That's what I'm at. Those are my strengths. So I spend all of my time and money doing that and getting better at it, so that I can pay people to do the other stuff that I'm not as good at, or that's
Mm.
not as fulfilling, right? So and I said I've been married 35 years, and I'm gonna make it to 36 by faith. And here's how I know that: because every Friday afternoon or evening or after evening, I date my wife. Every Sunday, after spending however, sometimes I preach 2 sermons every Sunday, some Sundays 3. Doesn't matter how many sermons I preach that day. Whenever I'm done, it's me and the wife date night. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Those are non-negotiables for me. My calendar's not even open after 3 o'clock on Friday. You can't find me. And my team knows, and those around me know. You train people how to treat you. When I'm available, I'm available. But when I'm not, I'm not.
You know what? You see this pen in my hand? I told you I don't have no notes or anything like that, but
Yeah.
you said a couple of things right there that I need to write down on my piece of paper. You know, that Friday, dating your wife every Friday,
Yeah.
including that Sunday, that is so key. The reason that is key to me, my wife and I, we always talk about mainstream media.
Hmm.
They don't promote per se, marriage and unity as much as they promote everything else. So, we're always looking to those that are together, how they stay together, and things of that nature. That's a beautiful thing. For me, coming from parents that's been married 53 years.
There you go.
Most of the people in my family, especially on my mom's side, I just thought that was the lay of the land. I already had a plan for marriage before I was
Yeah.
even, I think before I even had the first girlfriend.
Hmm.
So, because this is what I seen, this is what I know. Then you get out in society and they throw at you all the other things,
That's right.
especially, in the entertainment world. It seemed like a person was married, they get divorced 2 weeks later, they talking about them about somebody else, and you like, where are the stories of the people who are getting it right? Because this younger generation, we need to hear that. And I don't know if you notice, and I'm pretty sure with all the connections that you have, it's a thing right now going around where the younger people are just vowing before giving it a chance to not be married
Oh,
or to
absolutely.
not have
Absolutely.
children.
Yeah, they've decided. And again, if you take the old fashioned model of marriage was committed till death, period. Now, if you're not careful, that can push out joy, fun, happiness. You just stay to stay, right? Or you can enjoy it. My maternal grandparents were married 74 years at the time of my grandfather's passing. My paternal grandparents were married 56 years at the time of my grandmother's passing. My parents, they didn't make it. They would love peace and hair grease. They didn't quite get there. But I had the model from and I asked my grandmother who was married 74 years. I said, Grandma, how did you and grandpa stay married so long? I mean, they had 11 kids, all single births, no twins, 11. Yeah, the number between, 12 and 10, 11. That's a lot. And she said, grandson, it had nothing to do with love. We said we would, so we did.
Mm.
Blew my mind. We said we would, so we
So we
did.
did.
And so that type of commitment. And so when I think about that, as I look to add value to people and those small piece that I'm allowed to play on this planet, I never think about fatigue or, you go work, go do it. I mean, like you said, AI is taking jobs. Well, it's not taking mine. AI can do a lot of things. It can't be me. I don't care what they tell me. It cannot be me. Now, it can help me be a better me, but it can't be me. So I believe in leveraging, not surrendering to, right? But that's how it comes down. So I'm a bit old fashioned. I'm a bit old fashioned.
And I appreciate you sharing that. And you hit the nail on the head. You jumped right into my scenario, talking about AI. And I'm glad that you kind of brought it up that way, because my mission has been for the last couple of months, most definitely, is human first, AI is a tool. I got a slogan now. It's called train the human, deploy the AI.
Yeah.
Because in mainstream media now, they're acting like this robotic machine is just pushing people out the window. And I guess you're supposed to go live on an island somewhere as AI is doing all these works. But I tell people all the time, there's value in you. I don't care how well these machines, these tools are programmed, they cannot replace you, the you that I am, as they would say in some areas. Um, and I'm really trying to get people to understand that, but to also understand how they can leverage these tools to do something better, further, faster, research, whatever that thing is. You seem to have a great balance of that.
Well, I'm not gonna mess with how old you are, but in my lifetime, I owned the first video game console ever made. In my
Mm,
lifetime, we utilized the first microwave ever made. Um, and evolution has happened with technology. I remember being on the now I'm gonna tell my age, but it's gonna be all right. I'd be on the phone. We had a phone in the house. It had we were well off poor people. So we had a long 10, 15-foot cord, the curly Q cord.
yes, sir.
And you answer the phone in the kitchen where the phone is, and you walk around the corner to the back room to sit and tell sweet nothings to some young lady and trying to make things happen. Well, when we got the cordless phone with the antenna that only halfway worked, we thought it was wonderful. So we went to that. Well, and then we went from that to the small little 4 remote handsets, and then we went from that to they called them mobile phones. They were big bricks that you used to carry around and
Hmm.
all that. And now we had the I'm a Palm Pilot guy. I don't know whatever happened to the Palm Pilot. That's one of the best inventions ever. Boy, I love my
Hmm.
Palm Pilot. Well, then I went to the BlackBerry. Well, now I have my phone. What I'm saying is, as long as you live, there's going to be new technology that's going to make life easier for you. But what I tell people when it comes to AI, here's my thing, because AI can, if you can't make yourself handsome or beautiful, smart and attractive with AI, shame on you. But what I say is this, Dr. D, never let AI present you in a way that you're not able to underwrite who it presents.
Oh, that's good.
So AI can present me as a communicator, but if you call on me to communicate, and this is I say this with all humility, the gifts that God has given to me, I'm able to communicate right now. I don't have to go do research. I now, if you give me time, I'm going to give you better, no doubt about it. But you can't ask me to do anything that I'm a subject matter expert in, and I need preparation time to do that. And that's so when if AI says he's a communicator, well, AI is right. And AI can probably say it to you a whole lot better than I can say it as far as who I am. But when it comes to delivering and connecting with people, that's what I do. And there's going to always, if reading was all we needed, we would have stopped at libraries.
That's good. You know, I like everything that you just said there, and there's so much of the things that I believe in. And I say this on every video. I said I'm on both sides when it comes to AI. I'm on the wow, look at we can do it. I'm on the ooh, look
Whoa,
at we can do side.
whoa.
Like some of these things need to get a pause on it because they're overtaking. Even how people present themselves because
Mhm.
now they go into the LLMs, the chat GTPs, they create this whole persona of themselves that cannot be backed up. I'll tell you something, Dr. Rodney,
Mhm.
that I learned the other day. The wife and I was watching something to where some of the CEOs of these major corporations are having people like come in when you interview to have them come in and they assess them doing the work because the resume looks so great.
Mhm.
All the accolades, everything lines up perfectly with that role. But what they started finding out was because of AI, you presented this top notch representation of yourself. But when it came down to it, you could not back it up.
That
So
when
now they're
when
they're
when I
throwing the
say
resume out the door.
when I say underwriting, don't let AI write a resume you can't underwrite. That's exactly what I mean. Because I can be made to sound like a wonderful whatever, whatever, whatever. But what I know is people are people. And not everyone is connecting at the same place. Not everyone has the same acumen. Not everyone has the same style. And so, as an individual, AI can learn a voice, but it can't reason as a person in dealing with people when it comes to those things, soft skills. You talked about executives. I work with high level executives. I have a program designed just to help high level executives to be able to develop the soft skills necessary to interact with people from all levels and all backgrounds. And in the workplace right now, Dr. D, we have 4 to 5 generations working at the same time.
Mm,
And so when you have 4 or 5 generations, something as simple as wearing a hat inside the building. I'm going to guess by the gray on your face that when you grew up, men take hats off when you walk in a building. That's just what happened, or there was some consequence. Well,
hmm
now men wear hats in buildings not because they're being disrespectful, but they worked really hard to make that hat match those shoes, and this is their drip. That's all. They're not trying to disrespect anybody, but the older generation saying they're so disrespectful. Well, they never thought about being disrespectful. They thought about being cute. That's all they were thinking about.
and I see that. Coming from being a musician, church musician for a long time, that rule, I stood by that rule because I was, especially in my region, I was one of the first. I know, especially in my home church, I was one of the first, as the old vocal choir would say, bringing that fuss into the church. I was one of the first people that started trying to do something other than foot stomp and hand clap. I had
Yeah,
bongos, I
yeah,
had, just a
yeah.
whole lot of things. And nowadays, you have full, sometimes orchestras in church. But I noticed now with musicians, you see this a lot with drummers and bass players. They like wearing their little caps. They like wearing their little things. And even to this day, I look at the videos of them playing. I be like, "Ooh, they got what? They got on the hat?
And shades in the church.
Yeah, a t-shirt and sneakers.
Yeah, yeah,
But they're great, and
yeah.
a lot of them are seriously. They're very much in their craft, and they holy and they sanctified. But the appearance
Has changed.
of them, I be looking like I come from the era we still wore the suits. I don't
Look,
care how
look,
hot
look, look the
that suit
part.
was.
Keep a towel with you. It's all right.
Yes, but I starting to see that change with the younger generation, especially. And there are some denominational churches out there that now they present in that form.
Hmm.
And I always, my grandfather, he pastored. He died almost at 99. He pastored
Hmm.
all the way up to about 97, like 60, almost 60 years. And so we followed him around. I got uncles as bishops. One of my great friends is an archbishop. So it's a thing.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? It's a
I do. I
thing that
do.
comes along with that. So now when I see people today, I try not to, but I can't help it. I try not to measure their involvement inside the church or
Right,
whatever in
right.
ministries
That's called
based on how they
inherent bias.
look.
It's inherent bias, and you have it because of the generation. So that's how I see things. And so when I look at myself, um, what I do is connect people and help people understand and unlock themselves. See, AI can speak for you, but it can't help you understand you. You
Mm,
have to know who you are and how you present. There are things that I love to do that bring me great fulfillment, and that's what I spend my time doing. There are things I don't love as much. And those things that I don't love as much, I kind of uh, delegate, stay away from. I like to stay in my strengths.
I love that part because at the same time, what you're doing and saying to me is that you have recognized your strengths and
Hmm.
all of those things. And
Absolutely.
to bring it down to the bottom line, the things that you love and the things that you do not. We live in a world now, especially in the working class community. They are spending a lot of their time doing something that they don't love. And it brings on a whole lot of different emotions that equal out to their job performance and advancements and things of that nature. And I'm glad that you are you seem like you are really hardcore exercising. These are the things that I love. The things that I don't, I hey, they might still need to get done, but somebody else can do those things on my behalf.
Well,
I like
I'm
that.
I'm I'm a little bit. I'm not as young as I used to be. So being a father, I spent more than half my life doing what I had to do. You didn't get it. Liking it wasn't an option. I don't care if you like it or not. Baby got to eat. Baby needs you, right? So as I've grown and evolved, I like success, and everyone that I know likes success. Well, when you do things you're not good at, you don't find much success. But when you do things that are in your area of strength, your area of gifting, if you will, they bring you fulfillment. And that's just how it works. So if we spend more time developing that, because we've always, and I'm gonna take a little trail real quick and come right back, but we spend most of our lives usually doing what others thought it would take for us to be successful. It had nothing to do with whether we liked it or not. So you got to go to high school and get a diploma. That remember that was early on. That's how it was. If you got to get a got to get education. Well, that transformed to now you got to get a college degree to be successful. Well, there are some people who are going to be a plumber and they don't want to go to college. Now they have to learn the trade. They have an acumen for learning, but they want to be a plumber. And guess what? They're gonna still have jobs, be able to charge whatever they want because AI can't do plumbing. Okay. So so it's we spend our time doing what we think or what society says, what our history says, what our ancestry says will make us successful. And success to me is knowing why I'm on the planet, that what I'm gifted to do, and then go enjoy my life doing it. This right here, adding value to people, we can do this all day, and I'm going to feel good. I'm going to feel great about it because it's what I was built to do.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Now I want to take you back a little bit because you said something that was very key. In your profession, I will say, you talked about soft skills
Oh yeah,
that you go around. You are still training. 2026 today. You're
yes.
training people on soft skills.
I'm introducing soft skills to some people. Dr. D, now let's just be serious for a little bit. Let's just be transparent. In March of 2020, our entire world changed with this thing called the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
When that happened, we got on screens like this, and we haven't come off of them since. We have a whole generation of children who have never gone to a physical brick and mortar school.
Mm.
We have several classes who graduated virtually. And now our colleges are no longer determined by their number of on campus students, but they have a number of online students that either matches or exceeds their in person students. So what happens? We learn information, we don't learn how to interact and communicate with people. And then when you, in my world, when you go higher up the food chain and you get into executives, high level CEOs, high level entrepreneurs, in those rooms, those people are often feared and revered. So people in the room are not honest with them. They won't engage with them. They won't dialogue with them. So they outgrow their room, but have nowhere to go where they can still grow and develop community. And so what happens is the soft skills need to be enhanced. They're super successful. It's just in the room they're in or in the competitive market they're in, they have no place to go. So I developed specific programs to help executives, high-level CEOs, serialpreneurs, people that people revere, but they don't necessarily support. They revere you, but they can't communicate with you. And then the other thing is once you get in that room and you have this high level, high capacity, high acumen, you see farther than people see, you see it more quickly, and you have nobody to discuss it with. So there's a lot of gaps in the room there. I mean, you have to think if you want to have, and I would suggest probably in your world, I want to be conservative and say 85% of your conversations regarding AI require you to educate someone to converse with them. So what happens is when you want to grow in your AI space, you don't have much room to grow because you're the teacher, you're the expert, you're the authority. Well, if you're trying to build a business and you want to grow the business, you need somebody that you can talk to who can expand you and add community. That's the gap that I feel because it's so prevalent and soft skills are a very big deal. And I don't mean any disrespect. My son's an IT guy and I call you guys affectionately nerds. Nerds would rather play with their toys and talk to you anyway. So when it's time to talk to somebody and you got to go through that much effort, yeah, just forget it. I'll just talk to myself and figure it out. Well, there's value in growing in that relationship. And that's why I tell people I'm not an AI expert by any means. I am a people expert. So I can help you in your business because I do people. Does that make sense?
Oh yes, yes. It makes a lot of sense, and the reason I highlighted that was because there's a lot of studies out there now that's surrounded by because of emerging technology, surrounded by isolation, and people becoming introverts. I know I battled that myself. If it wasn't for the music life that I have lived, I think I would have probably all of my friends will be on a computer screen. I tell people all the time that I had this one business I was a digital marketer for a long time, and all of my clients, I never met them, I never touched their hand, I never shook their hand, even if they was up the street.
Mm.
It was a video call. It was all of these things right here. So every now and then, the wife and I would be out, and I'd be like, I recognize that person. And it's a trip.
Yeah,
I'm,
yeah.
I'm I'm now doing this is a trip. I'm now doing business with a person that we have been doing business together for probably about 3 years, trying to make something work for 3 years. He stays in my state. We met face to face for the first time a couple of months ago.
Wow.
And we were both tripping on that aspect of like, yeah, I've been talking to you forever, never met you. And I'm not talking, when I say in my state, I'm not saying hours away. I'm talking about like maybe 45, 50 minutes at most away from my doorstep to his doorstep.
That's how it works. And that's the need, right? So when we're going to grow brands, grow companies, grow ministries, you're going to have people. At some point, people are the goal. And if people are the goal, communication, leadership, self-development, growth, all of these components are necessary. AI can help you with that when you leverage it. I mean, you don't want to be Blockbuster. You don't want to be that. So you can't run from all of it. And I get that, but at some point you have to be able to develop. And I think that the one of my mentors is John Maxwell. I'm on his team. I work at the executive level with John Maxwell's team. And here's one thing he often says. He says, it's in the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth is the book. It says, in order to grow yourself, you have to know yourself. So you can't fill any growth gaps in your life if you don't know who you are. When you start there, I mean, everyone wants quote unquote success, but what is success really? There's too many people who have died rich and lonely and unhappy. So we know that money doesn't equal happiness. So what is it? I believe it's knowing your purpose and living it out.
Mm.
And if you do that right, you can make some money along the way.
Oh yes, oh yes. In my world, I always say, and I tell all of my partners this: money is the result of a job well done.
Exactly. I like that.
Is not the forefront.
Yeah.
If you're chasing it, if
Yeah,
you
let me get that one.
Yeah, because it actually is. If you think about it, you got a lot of, especially mainstream media, they push the aspect of money. They love to talk to you about billionaires, millionaires, things of that nature, but they never talk to you fully about how did that person achieve that.
Exactly.
So the money is the result of a job well done. It's period. You can't, unless you're out there doing something that you're not supposed to be doing.
Right.
Um,
Right. Right. Right.
you're not gonna achieve any type of success based on just chasing money alone.
And
I,
I'll tell you, I've been privileged. I've made some money now. Through the years, I have made some money and hope to make some more. I have never made a dollar. Okay, how much I made, okay, how big the check was, that makes me feel or made me feel like I feel when my 1-year-old granddaughter sees me, calls my name, takes off running, and grabs my leg. So, I'm grateful to have resources, but that feeling, you have a hard time beating baby girl.
I tell you, I used to go. I used to say that the streets think. What was it that I used to say a lot? I say bands don't make me dance.
Huh.
In
Yeah,
other words, there's some things, some elements of my life that it doesn't matter what the dollar figure is.
that's right.
It's
That's
just like
right.
when you was talking about your values earlier. It's some days that you're available, and there's some days that you
I'm
cannot.
just not.
It's
I'm
just
just
not
not.
happening.
Just not.
And I think we need to really exercise that, because I talk to a lot of younger people, and I love talking to younger men especially, because I feel like that's my duty. I always throw it out there. I'm 53. I'll be 54 this year. And when I jumped into this 50-50 club, things changed.
You
It,
better
it
believe it.
changed. I started remembering things my granddad told me. I started remembering this, and then I thought about it one day, and I shared this with my wife. I was like, you remember those people we used to look up to when we was growing up with the grandparents? We said, "Oh, that's that's the elder." I said,
Hmm.
"Man,
That's us.
we're that now.
I'll
We're
tell you.
that."
I'll tell you how my wife and I say it. We say, and it's not grammatically correct. I do know how to speak English, but I'm gonna say it how we say it. We say we the old people now.
Yes, sir. And, and with that, it comes a overall responsibility. You know, I
Absolutely.
I do believe that for those that listen, because I know we got some generations out there that we gotta crack them a different way. But for those that listen, the responsibility is giving them those resources. How do you connect with
That's right.
people?
That's right.
How do you make an honest living? How can you build stepping stones to becoming successful? Because I say stepping stones because depending on who you are, there are so many different avenues
Yeah.
that you can go to become successful. In my world, I talk about AI a lot. Not in this Dr. Rodney, this is probably gonna trip you out. I don't talk about AI because I have a computer science degree and I'm just so techy. The truth of the matter is, and I tell anybody that understand, me with my instruments in my hand, I play by ear all my life. I can come to your church and, hey, give me an instrument. I don't care what the instrument is. Give it to me. Let me listen to the song for a couple seconds. I'll jump right in. I'll find my place.
Hmm.
That's how I operate, and it's always been my gift. I've played on tours around the world, and until they put sheet music in front of me, they never realized that I had no clue of the key I was even playing in. it's,
Wow.
it's crazy.
Wow.
But with tech, it's the same thing. I woke up one morning and this information was just hitting me in my head. It was tearing me up.
Hmm.
I could almost see it in hieroglyphics. I tell people the story, and for those that believe me, believe it. I'm telling you, it's the truth. This was before no one was talking about AI. We was talking about bitcoins and crypto and all of that type of stuff.
Mhm.
This was before Chat GTP. It just kept beating me about this AI thing. Long story short, this is why Skilldora, our company, became the first to introduce AI into the e-learning space. When you go look that up, it's because I had my whole family, my wife and I. We teamed up and we had our kids down in the living room. Everybody had their laptops, and we was teaching them how to build this thing. To later now see, it's like everywhere you turn your head. This is what we were talking about in 2021,
Mm.
and especially within our community. But the thing about it is, Dr. Rodney, is that I got whipped so bad from the spirit I'm talking about. I always tell people, I said, if you don't believe me, ask my wife. She'll tell you how mean I was around that time because I was getting beaten so much to where I was like, leave me alone. It's like you couldn't touch me. And I
Mhm.
sit down at the computer and I started developing these things. I had no clue. Even to this day, some of the things that I build out, I have no clue. It's a gift. But also with that, when I started seeing how the transformation is happening into the space and how they already have stats on how our community will be at a deficit in emerging technology. It just became my mission to just talk about it from my standpoint. So I'm telling you, if this musician guy without that college degree in anything techie, go ask my mama about my transcripts in high school. She'll tell you that it wasn't on the forecast.
Yeah.
If I can actually understand it enough to advance in life, the younger generation that's coming up already into this fold don't realize they have things, not just AI, but they have so many
Mm.
tools around them that they can surpass us, Dr. Wright. They can
Oh, very,
surpass
very
our
easily.
level.
Very, very easily. I mean, it's access to information, but again, the key to winning is you have to be able to get yourself to do what's best for you. That's the key, right? How do I get what's in me and unlock that thing in me? Like, you're a creative brain. Understand you're created that way. So everything in your mind functions in creation, right? Whereas others function in compartments or function in facts. You like to you're the kid that tears up stuff just to see if you can put it back together. That's what you would.
Yes.
You don't even tell me. I can tell that's what you would do.
Yes.
And me, I want it to work. If it don't work, I'm gonna throw it away and get me one that does work. That's just how I am. Uh, and so, but I want everybody to come together and everybody play your role and play your part and all those types of things. So I think that the opportunity for us is there as long as we stay on the personal growth and development track. Then leverage and access the other things that are there for us. You can create your own life, your own job, your own company, your own brand, and it's all about being able to know how to put yourself in the best possible position.
I appreciate that. And, I have to slide this in there right quick. You
Oh,
nailed me so much on the head. You do you understand how many televisions I took apart in my
I,
parents'
I
house when
I
I
can
was
just see it.
young because my brain could not figure out how is this thing showing me a picture with an antenna. You remember those antennas on top of the
Listen,
roof?
you're not listen.
I took it apart so many times.
Well, here's what I'm thinking about. I'm gonna tell you what came to my mind. So, I'm not gonna suggest, but you told me how old you were, so that's your business. And I'm not as old as you. I'm maybe a little older actually, but there was a movie called E.T.
Mm-hmm.
and I had E.T. the Atari game where you would try to make the little radio thing so E.T. could phone home. That's all E.T. was trying to do. What I look at, I see Dr. D as a kid trying to phone home. That's all I can see.
All day, and still trying, and still trying. But this has been a great conversation. I do want to jump on something that I think that you are doing in current day time that's very unique. I'm very impressed by it. The Vision Leadership Conference, I know I might be saying that incorrectly.
That's right. That's right.
I'm so impressed with that. For one thing, I'm impressed because you invited me, which I really appreciate, but you have to understand the level of what this means. When you hit me up and you said, I want you to talk about AI and leadership. And I thought about it for a second because you have to understand, I come from the world, I had gotten beaten up especially from the Christian community for a minute when it comes to talking about AI. Now it's all good now, but like
Hmm.
I say, when
Hmm.
we first started off in this thing, I have a book out there called AI is Not God. That book was my defense mechanism to say, I'm telling you, I'm not trying to put something on you. I'm trying to tell you that it's a tool in the toolbox. It's not what you think.
Hmm.
And I know it's different variations of information that's out there, but when you hit me up for this conference and then you and I spoke some more and you was telling me how big this is, I was just very impressed. Could you kind of talk about the origin of that for a minute and kind of
Wow.
go to current day?
Okay. So the event is called Praise Beyond the Walls. It's an epic outreach event to empower our community. It started with one of my musicians, as a matter of fact, came to me
Mm.
and said, "Pastor, we want to have an event outside." Oh, that was kind of so. One of my a couple of my deacons came to me, one in music, and said, "We want to go outside and have an event." I'm all over. Let's go. Well, let's go outside. And so they said, "We want to go outside to the event." Okay, that's fine. And so if I'm anything, I'm practical. So the first thing we do is we got to have a tent. When we looked at a 6,000 square foot tent and it was going to be $7,000 or $8,000. I said, "Well, I'll tell you what, we can go outside, but we got to use the tent more than once. We can't use that tent more." So that's when Praise Beyond the Walls was born. And this was about 14 years ago, 12 years ago, 12 years ago. And so what the event does is it connects resource providers with those in need. The church that I pastor is in the lowest, one of the lowest LMI areas in the city of Oklahoma City. So what happens is we have tons of resources that are available to our community based on zip code, but we have tons of resources that go unused. So there's people there that need them, but people that don't get to them, whether it's transportation, whether it's background, culture, confidentiality, proper documentation, you name it. So the vision was that we would put together this event that brings resource providers with those in need, connect them. It's done outside of the church, so you don't have the restriction of feeling like you have to wear a suit or you have to come in and pray. No, this just meet needs. And so when we did it, we thought, well, we got to meet physical needs. We got to get food, right? We got to get some financial resources. We got to do a job fair. Okay, we're a church. We got to have church and outside things. We got to have things for our youth. And me being a leadership junkie, if I can use that term as a preacher, it's okay. Um, Dr. D, I go to conferences intentionally 4 to 6 times per year. I travel to them. I stay in a nice hotel. I pay registration fees, and I can afford to do that. Most people cannot. And so it was put on my heart right then. I want you to do a top level leadership conference. Don't you charge for this? Don't you charge for anything at Praise Beyond the Wall? The only thing we're charging for is I have a VIP luncheon, and what you pay for that, you're gonna get back in stuff. So you're not really paying for that. But don't charge, and then bring them a leadership experience that they may never otherwise experience because they're either a bivocational pastor or they're an emerging leader. He can take one day of vacation, but he can't take a week off and spend $2,000. He can't do that. So you bring the best of the best in. So this year, you and I met, and we were standing there, and you and your introverted self didn't say anything, but you said what you do. When you said AI, and I said AI back 3 times, couldn't shut you up. It was over. You were in. And so I began to think about that. So now here's the thing. I can't give away any trade secrets. I really can't. But what I can tell you is that I ask you to talk about AI and leadership. Okay. And so if a leader does not embrace AI, his team, their team, his or her team is limited. You you
Mm-hmm.
you cap yourself. You can't grow. I have a guy named RJ Gray who's coming in. RJ is going to talk about the leadership gap. Organizational growth is stifled due to the gap.
Mm-hmm.
And then since I had to fill the roster out and I couldn't bring anybody else special, I thought I'd fill in the back end. And I'm going to do a topic called intelligent accountability. So instead of AI, it's IA. And so these are the things we're going to be discussing. And the whole goal is if you can get to the conference for free, and I'm gonna give you, it's about, 3 or 4 hours of solid content. You'll be able to pick up your resources, my resources. You'll be able to get what you need, but you can get in that room and just apply yourself for a few hours for a half a day of vacation. That's all it costs you. If you got 25 bucks, I'm gonna feed you a catered exclusive meal and give you bonus content where I'm going to talk about a framework. It's the 4 R's of sustainability is what it's called. I'm going to teach that, and then we're going to do a panel in there with you and RJ and myself. We'll take live Q&A. Entrepreneur, pastor, emerging
I
leader,
love it.
CEO, doesn't matter. You're going to fit in that room, and you are going to leave with some amazing content. Again, that if we were to host this, we put a registration fee on it. we'd make you stay at a hotel. We put a meal package with it. And before you were done, because we don't have to be paid for our time and our content, everyone that I asked to do this, they're willing to come do it. They're willing to come do it. Now I'm not that cheap. I make sure you get your travel or something. I buy you a hamburger or something. I try to get
Yes,
you a meal.
sir.
But it's people are passionate about helping because we're not there to promote our businesses as in develop customers. We're there to serve. And if you serve, it's going to work out for you. There'll be things you can purchase and support, but it's nothing about that. It's about how do we get access to a top shelf conference, top shelf. And that's the challenge I have marketing, honestly, is it's top shelf. And people think it can't be good because it's free.
That's a whole conversation right there. You and I, we're gonna have to come back on that one because I gave away, just right quick. I gave away AI training courses. It's a 4-hour certification course, CPT accredited. Right when the transition, the buzzword started getting down to mainstream. Skill door we support we're behind some HBCUs, and I gave away. Of course, I emailed everybody. I did all of these things to give away the courses. And do you know that I had the lowest attendance in the free version of the course
Absolutely.
than I had in the paid version?
Absolutely.
And I couldn't understand it because my end goal was just for you to have the information. It had
Exactly.
nothing to do about the money. I
We
was like,
we associate value to dollars, and that's the mix up. Like when you associate fulfillment with money, you're gonna miss the point. Money's a
I
resource. It's not a source. It's a resource.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, like I said again, I'm really
If you do it
inspired.
free again, I'm signing up. Just so you know, I'll take that. I'll take that deal.
I got you. I got you. Matter of fact, we about to do a updated tranche, and I'll make sure you get access to that. That's no worry because I want people to understand as much as they can. I like to be the stepping stone. If you decide to go down in the tunnel, because we're not teaching you how to develop, we're teaching you what it is. How do you recognize? You can go hire the developers, but you need to have the information to, and especially in this world, to kind of see the difference between fact and fiction.
As you better know it.
So
You better
that's where
know it.
we're at. But Dr. Rodney, hey, it has been a pleasure. Like I say, I'm inspired about everything that you are doing. I really like the conference. Looking forward to being up there, fellowshipping with you, helping people. If you know me, that's my passion. That's at the end of the day. We can go a whole hour just on talking about that, on why I told God if He continues to bless me the way He have, I will continue to help people. That's my mission. That's what I do. But with that, sir, where can they get in contact with you? What's your main source? How do you like for people to interact with you?
It is on the screen. Rodney R. Payne. Where? Everywhere. That's my social media. That's my website, rodneyrpayne.com. And for your guest, I have a free gift on my website called How to Move the Needle in Your Organization. Just go to my website, click in, and get that free resource. And again, it's Rodney R. Payne. Whether it's my podcast, it's on YouTube. My channel is at Rodney R. Payne. That's who I am. And I just appreciate the opportunity for the dialogue, sharing the platform. And, you know, I like the macro view that we did, but if you ever want to deep dive a topic, listen, just give me a shout. I'm happy to go in there. But if you want to grow, if you really want to grow, start with you. Start with knowing yourself. You'll find that not everyone works in technobytes. Not everyone works in stories. Not everyone works in emotion. Some people work in facts and figures. Don't be ashamed of how you're wired because God wired you. What you do is you embrace it and you learn how to maximize it. I'll close with this story. And when I was in my first car, had a 1973 Pontiac Bonneville. Had a big 474, big old motor. That car was like 50 feet long. But here's the thing. It had a hard time starting. It just didn't want to start. But what I learned was if you pump it 3 times, crank it once, then pump it 2 times, crank it once, then pump it once, crank it, push the accelerator, boom, starts every time like clockwork. So the car was difficult to start. Matter of fact, it was impossible to start if it wasn't your car. But because it was my car, I knew how to get it started and how to make it run. When you know how to drive your own car, get your own car started, listen, you can make that thing run. So I want you to make sure you deserve to experience the best version of yourself every day in every area of your life. Invest the time to get good at being you.
I love. Well, hey, y'all already know that's going to be a clip, right? It's gonna be a clip. Start your own. Start your and drive your own car. Matter of fact, you know me. I like doing merch. We might have to put that on the shirt and tag Rodney R Payne on the side of that right there. But that has been great. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I can't say no more. Everything that he's talking about, we're gonna make sure that we have it down in the description because we don't want you to go searching. We're gonna make sure it's right there for you. I have enjoyed this conversation. We're gonna have to bring Dr. Rodney on back because we need to deep dive into that soft skills. I'm very interested in that, especially in the world today of emerging technology. We need to talk more about those soft skills. I want to talk more about it. So, Dr. Rodney, it's been a pleasure, and I look forward to having you on again. And most definitely, I will see you soon, sir.
Let's
Thank you.
get it, man. Thank you so much.